assets is the thing that help you keep up with the inflation that's on the fiat money. So because your money loses in purchasing power, you got to do something that gives you that power back.
What's up, Trap? Thank you and the team for working hard every day to help the community. This month, October, is my 2-year anniversary joining Patreon. I joined the Patreon October 23rd, 2023. Been job-free for 2 years now. Portfolio gained 620%. Super excited. A little bit about my background for a new Patreon member. For motivation, I was homeless. I used my card to sleep for 8 months, signed up with Planet Fitness, paying $25 a month for restroom, shower access. During my off day, rolling in the mall, parking my car under the tree. I was studying the Option Masterclass course. The night that I got the course, I could not sleep until 4 a.m. in the morning, even though I had to work 7 a.m. tomorrow. So if I can do it, you can do it. Trap, my question is, with the Fed on track to cut October and December going to 2026, what year in the past are you looking at to see how can we learn and be prepared in a similar situation for this year going to 2026? Thank you so much.
Nah, shout out to my guy Long Lee, man. It was a great question.
That's a powerful story too, bro.
I think, yeah, man, I just think that, he's one of those ones in the group, dog, like, I can't wait to see him for the Trapper family reunion, bro. Like, there's certain people who I know, like, they showed their progress the whole way. They was like, bro, this changed me. Bro, this, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to the Patreon members, man. Shout out to Long Lee. And one of the things about him, bro, like, we watched him grow that portfolio to over 6 figures, right? Not only that, we watched him in a 2-year time frame fly back home and retire his mama. From the market, we watched him put up videos and be like, hey, y'all, this is me in the parking lot eating the Subway, like he posted them in the group and we just like, hey, and what happens is, bro, like, there's a commitment. And I say this to people all the time, bro, like, you gotta treat the game like it's gonna change your life so it can change your life, right? Like, and what that means is, bro, like, you gotta be all in. Not all in on Trap. You gotta be all in on you. Like, bro, I'm all in on, I'm gonna get the information from this dude and I'm gonna see what he teach and I'm gonna rock out with it, bro. And it's whoever it is, whoever you looking at. But, bro, like, man, I salute that dude, bro. And he's been in every call, bro. 2 years, bro. He don't miss. So, Long, shout out to you, bro. I think more than anything, not just looking at a specific year, looking at the sentiment of what's going on right now. Like, okay, what happens when the Fed starts to cut rates? So when the Fed starts to cut rates, we get inside of, let me even back up a little bit more so. Like, so now this is why, of course, gold had a pullback today, but one of the reasons why you saw gold running so much is because we were in a situation where the smart money understands that free money is about to become available. And we also heard the Federal Reserve Chairman say, hey, we talked about this a million times, the economy is strong, but it's weak at the bottom half, right? And we've also heard the Federal Reserve say that, they're about to stop the tightening, which means the Fed can also start buying, they might start buying assets and putting money into the market, right? Which is gonna make the market more liquid. And what might happen is you'll see money getting cheaper, especially if we're gonna have a cut and there's 3 cuts that's on the table. There's a cut in October 29th, there's a cut in December, and then there's also a 72% chance we get a cut in the first part of next year, which means we'll get 3 cuts going into the new year, which means money gets really, really cheaper, which means not you and me, but the wealthy 1% of the world can now get money at a cheaper price to do what? Fund small cap business. So you'll see the Russell start to running, the Russell 2000 start running. Why? Because those are small cap business. You'll see what? More companies may go IPO when the money gets cheaper. Why? Because they can fuel growth. Anytime you can fuel growth, that's what happens. But also what happens to us is your dollar starts to lose value. So it is essential now for you to be in more assets. Why? Because assets is the thing that help you keep up with the inflation that's on the fiat money. So because your money loses in purchasing power, you got to do something that gives you that power back. And that's investing in the market. That's learning how to trade. Those are the things that give you more money. Those are the things that give your money more purchasing power. So more than anything, Long, what I'm looking at is, I'm looking at what's on the table right now, and I'm saying, hey, we may be in a position where we get 3 cuts. That means our money has lost that much money, which means the debasement trade is now in play. And what is the debasement trade? The debasement trade is you got to now swap out an asset class for an asset class. So you got to swap out the dollar for an asset class that helps you make money, that helps offset the loss of value in your dollar. Right, so you got to swap out the dollar for crypto. You got to swap out the dollar for stocks. You got to swap out the dollar for precious metals. You got to swap out the dollar for trading. That's the debasement trade. So we see a debasement trade actually taking place. Again, yes, you see gold and silver coming down. Well, why is this happening? Well, look at gold and silver. They've been outperforming the market by a landslide all year, right? And gold and silver has actually outperformed the market a few years in a row. So we see a debasement trade happening. We see smart people saying, all right, let me find, watch this, let me find safety in gold, let me find safety in silver, but also now let me take risk with stocks. Why? Because these offset the dollar. And we see the dollar, what? Consistently losing value. I think this year alone, it lost another 21%. So because we see the dollar consistently losing value, now you got to say, hey, I got to buy more money. I got to, watch this, I got to use money to buy money. Oh my God. I got to use money to buy money. Why is that? Because if I don't use money to buy money, then that puts me in a situation to be poorer. Well, how come I become poor? Because now we know wages not going up, but we know rent is, we know now cost of milk is, eggs is, gas is, everything going up. So the same dollar that bought something now, watch this, the same dollar that bought something in October can't buy the same thing in January next year because it lost value. So for me, Long, that's kind of what I'm looking at, bro. I'm looking at that from that situation as how do we capitalize off what we see in front of us. Great trade, brother.
What's up, Trap? What's up, Jose? Thanks for taking my call. I really appreciate it. Shout out to the night crew and all my good people there. I just had a question. When you made your first trade, how did you build that confidence to not chart and like check the stock constantly to see movement and all that? I kind of have trouble doing that because I have so much free time during the day. I'm constantly looking at numbers. I know I shouldn't be doing that, if I made the right trade and for the right reasons. And the second part of my question is, how did you adjust over time, like your rules and formulas that you use? As time went on, I kind of find myself kind of tweaking stuff constantly. I guess to try to find what works for me. How did you find what works for you? Thanks for taking my call, Trey.
I feel like trading is a ongoing process, right? So one, you never stop learning. And two, you always looking to refine what you're doing, right? You always looking to make what you're doing better. And so if you're not doing that, you're actually becoming a worse trader. And the reason why I say that is because you got to realize the market is always doing something. And so for you, I don't see nothing wrong with what you're doing. I'm being honest with you because you still learning. Y'all saw me pick up charts from April to now, and y'all know we going crazy with them, right? But guess what, y'all? I'm still learning. I'm not at all saying, man, I know it all, right? I'm always trying to get better at my candle communication. I was telling Sean this the other day. We was looking at Netflix, and I said, Sean, once it hit this zone right here, bro, I think that bit gonna hit up. And it did it. And Sean looked at, I said, bro, I'm telling you, I'm locked in. You know what I'm saying? And so you start, watch this, you start realizing what you're really good at identifying, right? Think about it like this. I'm gonna use this, ladies, don't take this against me, because I can use it in this situation too. Think about, fellas, think about the type of woman that you really like, right? What are the attributes, right? So for me, she gotta love God. She gotta be good with her family. You know, she gotta know how to cook. You know, how much money she make don't matter to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, oh, you gotta have money. I'm a provider. God done bless me. I'm gonna get money. That's my job. Like, now, if you can help in that, that's cool, but what's your internal spirit like? Do you got a great smile? Can you make me laugh? Can you comfort me? How are you with kids? Because I got a daughter already. So now, because I understand that, I start identifying that early. You know what I'm saying? And so, ladies, same thing. Like, what do you like? What are the things that you like in a man? Right? Because that's how you look at the chart. What is the thing that I need to see before I find this trait attractive? Oh my God. Oh, Sean, how you feel? Come on, Sean. I saw you with the, right? So what is the thing that I need to see, watch this, before I find this trait attractive? Now watch this. Before you understand what it is that you need to see in a person that you start building up your rules and what you like, you gotta date a lot of them. You gotta date some bad ones to realize that ain't what I like. You gotta say, oh, she got a pretty face, but boy, when every time I see her, bro, she gossiping. Why is she always mad? Why is she always down and everything? Why she don't support me? And then what happens is you start realizing, she got the look I want, but she don't got the energy I want. Nope, that ain't a good one. That one ain't worth my time. She may be good for somebody else, but not for me. Ladies, you may say, you know what? He's a working man, but he get angry fast. That's a red flag. You know, he's not supportive. He don't make me laugh. He got everything, but he ain't a man of God. Maybe a red flag. So what you start realizing is, you start looking at the traits and you start saying, what are the things, and you got to identify two things. What are the things that make this trait attractive, and what are the red flags in this trait? So you may say it's an uptrend, but they ain't got no volume. I'm good. It's an uptrend, but that's a dang on shooting star right there, bro. It's an uptrend, but that's an engulfing candle right there. It might be coming down. It's an uptrend, but man, it's right there by them 2 wicks, and that's a liquidity grab. So that's a double top. It's a good, but that's a double top forming right there. That's a double bottom form. That's a bull flag right there. I seen this before. I know your time. I know your type. So that's what it is. So you got to go through some good ones to realize what you really like, and then you got to go through some bad ones that say, that ain't my type. And then what happens is, once you get the eye, this is what people take this for granted so much. There'll come a point where you just get the eye. There'll come a point where you can just look and say, yep, you'll get the eye where you can zoom out and be like, break a structure right here. Oh, I see where they need to go. Me and Sean was looking at the trade the other day. I said, Sean, if it break the structure, we good. It broke it. I said, we good. Then we watched it go all to the high. Look what we said together. I said, ooh, it rejected this number right here, which was a previous all-time high it was a previous high in an internal trend, meaning it had already fell down. It had hit this internal high and fell back down, and it was back at it again. And I said, Sean, if it can't cross this, it's gonna probably sell off again a little bit. Not a lot, but it'll probably sell off again. We see they got a lot of momentum going, but it done reached this number, so it may sell off a little bit. We looked at it and it starts selling off a little bit. I said, it's a perfect time to take some profit. So it's just being able to, the thing is to not try to do too much. That's one of the other biggest issues is, you know the journey you on, and then you get information overload, and then the information overload makes you forget what you're doing because you didn't try to learn what that person knows instead of saying, nope, I got that, but let me put that over here. Let me keep learning this market structure right here. And then in this market structure, I'm going to learn support resistance. I'm going to learn breaker structures. I'm going to learn liquidities, and I'm going to learn supply demand zones. If I learn that, I'm good right now, right? And then you start learning higher, lower, lows. All right, cool. And then you say, you know what, let me now evolve a little bit more. Let me start drawing my trend lines now. Let me start drawing channels now. Let me start seeing if I can identify what a wedge look like. And then you evolve a little more. You say, you know what? Let me start using this Fibonacci right now. And you evolve a little more. You say, you know what? Now let me start identifying bull flags and bear flags. And you evolve a little more. You say, hey, you know what? Now let me start shrinking my time frame a little. Because now I understand about 7 different things. So now whatever happened on the 1 hour, I can see it on the 15-minute too. Right? So that's how you evolve. Instead of trying to do it, watch this, all at one time. I keep saying this. I would rather you read 1 book 10 times than to read 10 books 1 time. Because if you read the 1 book 10 times, you're going to see things the 2nd time you missed the 1st time. You're going to see things the 3rd time you didn't get the 1st or the 2nd time, and the 3rd time you had an aha moment. And then read it the 5th time, now you got so many marks in the book. Now you're just looking at the stuff you marked out so you can now make it an imprint in what you're doing. And then the 5th time you read, but you know what? You ain't going to get to the 5th time because now you feel like, I done read this book too many times. But the 5th time, you might unlock so much. So I'd rather you read 1 book 10 times than read 10 books 1 time. Because with the 10 books 1 time, you're going to have overlapping information. This is going to be good. You forgot that. And my thing to do is when I'm reading, I also like to write. And if I really, really like it, I'm going to get an Audible too. That's how you learn. That's how I learn. So I think that's what it is for me, bro. Just consistently, evolving. And when it comes to the confidence, bro, like, my thing was always, it's going to work or it's going to work.